life. It's time for another little chit chat here about tea and knitting and all things wonderful fall. I hope you guys have been having a wonderful fall wherever you live. It has been really quite beautiful here, but also warmer than I always remember fall being, but that's okay. I'll take warm weather. I know people in other parts of the world and the country have been having really difficult weather, so no complaining about the weather here, right? All right. Well, it's been long overdue. I'm going to get right into it because it has been way too overdue. I've been not feeling very well the last 2 months, and so I have put off the prize drawing for the Miss Marple KAL until I could podcast. Probably I shouldn't have done that because look how long it took us. I should have just drawn the prize and put it up in the Ravelry group. But anyways, here we are. What's done is done. Can't cry over spilt milk. So thank you for your patience, everyone. I really appreciate it. So without further ado, in the Chatter and Whips thread, the random number generator drew number 60, which is Lettyb, and her little quote post there was wonderful. It was filled with enthusiasm. I love this idea of a little along. My husband is British, and after 30 years of living over there and here in the U.S., I am a bona fide Anglophile. Thanks for such a fun idea. Can't wait to check out Acorn TV. So, Lettyb, contact me. I have 4 beautiful mini skeins from Narwhal Fiber Arts and a little fairy brooch that I've been making, and more about these a little later, to send you. So, contact me on Ravelry and send me your address, and I can get those out to you. And then for the FO thread, we have this beautiful skein of Manos, which I can't wait to tell you more about. This is their laceweight yarn. It's a single, and oh, it's knitting up so gorgeously. And then this bag. Oh, I put it in plastic already, so it's hard to see. This bag, and I attached a fairy brooch to it. So that is for the FO thread. And Ainsley's mommy, number 15, won that. And she finished a beautiful sweater. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous, in the FO thread. So congratulations to you, Ainsley's mommy. If you would just post me on Ravelry, I can get that up to you. So, there. Don't we all feel better? The prizes are out, and it was so much fun. It really was a fun knit along. So sorry about the prizes being so late, but anyways, here we are. I mentioned that I haven't been feeling well lately. So when I'm not feeling well, I tend to craft a lot. And I tend to pull in other crafts. I do a lot of knitting, but I also I always try to reach outside of my normal genre of crafting. I don't know why, I find that soothing. So, you want to see what I've been up to? Okay. One of the first things I did was I made this wreath. So, and as you can see, it's from a bunch of felted sweaters. Now, I didn't have, that's great, I should wear it as a halo. I didn't have a lot of, I didn't have big pieces. I had just little scraps of felted sweaters. Honestly, I had the scraps that were from my sister. She makes beautiful, big, gorgeous roses. And if you haven't been over to her Etsy shop, you should go check her out. She's on Etsy as, I think it's the Felted Flower Shop. She makes gorgeous roses. I hope she has some up there for you to see. But anyways, so I had her little bits and scraps, you know, So I looked up a tutorial online, and you can make these little roses with bits and scraps. So that's what I did. And I love it. I have it hanging on the back of my kitchen door in my kitchen so that when I'm cooking I can look at it. And it's on a white door so you can see it really well. What I did is I took a piece of just craft felt, you know, the yucky acrylic felt, and I sewed it onto the grapevine wreath. Again, I was trying to do this with things that I had around the house. So the grapevine wreath I had around the house. I hadn't done anything with it yet. I had these leaves and the fake berries and the pine cones around because we have lots of berries and pine cones in our back path where we like to go walking. And then I had all the scraps. So my intention was to sew these beautiful things on here, but they just weren't, I wasn't able to get them all in the right places. So I sewed on this so I could easily take it off and put it on something else if I wanted to. But then I hot glued these pieces on so that I could just get them lying in just the right way. So anyways, it's very easy to do, and it's a lot of fun, and you can do it with scraps. If you don't have felted sweaters to play around with, you can also buy wool felt pieces online on Etsy. And something that I've really wanted to try to do is the rug hooking squares of wool that you can buy. They're not felted, but you can felt them, and then you can cut pieces out to do the flowers. So that's in my book of things I want to do. But that's my fall wreath. I think I enjoyed it so much that I want to make another one. So the other finished things I did with my mom. Oh, hey guys, I'm going to stop it for a minute. I just found my microphone, and I know that really helps. So I'm going to pop it back. I know it helps a little bit, so sorry about that. I got a bunch of things ready last night to do a podcast because I thought I'm going to do it early in the morning. And I had it underneath a pile of stuff to show you. So one afternoon, and it's been hard to fit everything in. It's so funny. So on top of not feeling well, it also has been birthday season at our house, which is where all of the guys in my household have birthdays, and they're all like 2.5 weeks apart. So it goes. So I did get myself ready in July, and I started buying birthday presents, getting ready for this, but it still made the last 2 months really hectic. But amidst that, I said, Mom, I need a crafting day. I need to do something, and I need to do something creative. So she said, let's paint. And I said, yes, I've been wanting to paint pumpkins, but I can't paint. I really can't paint. Pumpkins, though, make you feel like a painter because they're really easy to just whip out and do some shading. And so I just got the cheap little canvases at Michael's with a 50% off coupon, I think. And Mom has some acrylics that she does painting with. And so she came over and we set it up in the sunroom. We had so much fun. I had to do it a little here and a little there between school pickup and making dinner, but we did several. Actually, I have even a third pumpkin that I should run up and get. But so I did this one, my orange pumpkin, and then I wanted to do a white pumpkin, and then I did like a butternut squash gourd. Not quite, but I forget. You know, I don't know all the names of the different gourds. Do you know how many different gourds there are? Oh my goodness. But a white pumpkin, and it was one of those green gourdy things. So I have these up, and they're bringing me so much joy. My mom and I looked up some acrylic tutorials on YouTube, and I tell you, YouTube is such a great resource. So if you guys are at all interested in painting or working with acrylics, you don't have to have a lot of equipment, which is fun. And you can do things simply. I'm going to provide the link because I forget the guy's name, but it was a wonderful British guy. He was adorable. Sorry. I know that people are going to get mad at me. He was English. I will be specific. He was from England. Does that make it better? People from Scotland and Wales and Ireland? Northern Ireland? Drink more tea. I'm making all of the British Isles mad at me. Okay, this lovely man from England, he was really cute and really enthusiastic about his acrylics, and he's very good. So he gives you very good step-by-step instructions on how to paint. So actually, Mom and I got together for another painting session, and we tried to follow his instructions. I ran out of time, so I wasn't able to finish mine, so I didn't bring it down. But it wasn't a pumpkin. We were painting an apple. But I will try to leave the link in the show notes so that you guys can find it too and watch him. It's fun. Okay, another thing that I've been making, let's go on to this one. This is kind of a whip, but an FO, like the first phase is done. I had a bunch of yarn left over from a project and some yarn that I had been given, and I wanted to just do some stranded knitting because I find stranded knitting very rhythmic and very, very, very soothing. So I wanted to do some stranded knitting, but I didn't want to follow a pattern. I didn't want to create a pattern, and I just wanted to knit. I didn't want to have to worry. I wanted to make things up as I went along. So I cast on this. It's a top-down yoke sweater, and I think I'm going to do it as a sweater vest. I think I'm going to do short sleeves. And one of the reasons why I've been thinking that I would do that is because I do wear a lot of vests in the winter. Sometimes it's just not cold enough to wear a full cardigan. I know that sounds strange, but here in the Midwest, sometimes it does get cold. But anyways, also with little kids, you're running around a lot, and you're holding them a lot, and there are little heaters, and you get quite warm. So I'm thinking that I'm going to do short sleeves with this one. I did just a really easy box stitch. So it was knit 3 of the main color, knit 3 of the secondary color, and then the second row is every other one you change the color, and then again knit 3, knit 3. So with a standard top-down yoke, it's very easy. You just increase in 3 different sections on the yoke. So it's easy to fit things in. I did a smaller box up here just since things were had fewer stitches, and then it got bigger as it went down. So the plan is short sleeves, steek it down the center. I have a hem on it, so I need to turn the hem under. And then I'm making some pockets. I'm making pockets, and I'm going to put pockets on down at the bottom. You see I changed to, oh, there's a name for that. And you guys are all telling me what it is. Oh well. But this stitch down at the bottom. So in this section I'm going to put the pockets. And I'm going to do plain pockets, and then I'm going to embroider with the colors on it. So it's going to be definitely kind of like a scrappy collage of different techniques and things, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. So that's what you're supposed to do, right? It has been very relaxing. I'm kind of missing it because I don't have it on my needles right now. I have some yarn left over, and I'm thinking it would be so much fun to cast on a stranded shawl, wouldn't it? So I might cast that on. I'm being very bad and just knitting for fun. actually I'm not. I have some whips that I need to show you. So moving on. The other thing that I've been working on, whoop, the wreath went, is, I don't know why, but this just made me happy to make these little fairy brooches for my knitting bag. And actually the knitting bag that I have, oh, here it is. I have one on my knitting bag. Let's see. Mine was the first one of the prototypes, so here you go. It just is a little bit of bling and a little decoration. So I've been having fun. Here's one with a little sheepy badge on it, little sheepy button. The problem is, guys, I found it so relaxing to make these and so much fun just sitting at my desk creating these that I made a ton. So I've given some away. And I still have a ton. So I think I'm going to put some up in my Etsy shop because I still like making them. So I find them soothing. So they're not up yet, and I don't know if they're going to be up by the time I get this podcast up, but hopefully I will get them up soon. So it's ridiculous, but it's fun. They're just little crocheted pieces with vintage buttons and beads, and then a nice kind of like a kilt pin to attach it to your bag. So, and there's a little stiffener on the back, a little felted wool, so that it's a good hefty weight, so it doesn't flap around too much. So I've enjoyed having it on my bag, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it if you get one. So that's what I've been up to in all my craziness. I also finished 2 shawls, but since they are designs for the future, I can't show them, but they're a lot of fun. So just haven't had time to work on them. In the meantime, I am going to show you one whip, and then I'm going to show you some lovely things. This John's school is doing a charity to raise money for scholarships, because one of the things that they do is try to have scholarships for those who can't afford to go to the school, which is a really wonderful way to include everybody. And that's one of the big focuses of John's school, is to include everybody, which I think is really important. I think it's important for us as parents, and it's also important for the children to just be all together. But anyways, they're doing a charity auction at Christmas time, and they are going to be decorating trees and themes, and they're going to include gifts from different companies around this city. So I was asked to knit some items for this the charity event. So I decided to do the Edith hat, which is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to do the Edith hat, and then the mittens. I think they're the Elise mittens, but they go together. It's by the same designer. It's a Born to Knit is her designing name, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful pattern, very well thought out, and I am happily working on it. It's on a 0 and fingering weight yarn. So I chose, because I know that people really like soft things, I chose some alpaca cloud from Knit Picks, and it's gray and red. It's really pretty. But I'm in the beginning baby stages, because we just got back from fall break, and I had to order it and it hadn't come, so it's beginning. Hopefully next time I sit down and chat with you guys, I will be a little further along. I made a mistake in the first round because I was doing it late at night and I was tired. So as I go back around on the second row of the chart, I have been trying to fix my error, which is delightfully stressful. Big cup of tea while I do it. but it's a very well-written pattern, and I'm using my chart keeper to keep me on track, and I love knitting from charts. I'm a chart person. So I've been enjoying that, even though I have been messing up on it. So once I get the second round in and fix the first round, it will be a breeze. It will be good. So anyways, okay. I am going to show you something absolutely lovely. I did a whole little separate video that came out shortly before this podcast about it because it was that wonderful. This is a new to me yarn company, and I always, you know, I've been knitting for a long time, and after you work at a yarn shop, and that was 8 years ago, 8 and 9 years ago now that I used to work at a yarn shop. But you know, you're very familiar with a lot of the yarn companies and yarn brands that are out there. So it's so fun to find a new one that comes along. And this is a new one that has a really cute story. I know I mentioned it in the brief video, but they're out of Hong Kong. And originally they were a family tailoring company. So they were a family of tailors, and they built up their business. And as they did that, they took on more of the processes of making the textile and making the fabric that they worked with. And part of that was developing wool. So now they develop their own yarn from the ground up. They have a farm in New South Wales, Australia, and then they can really control the whole process and therefore ensure just a really nice luxury hand knitting yarn at fairly decent prices too. They have a wonderful website. You can go on their website. It's Knit Purl Crochet. That's what that KPC stands for. And they do ship all around the world, which is wonderful. And look at this box of yummy samples. Aren't these little tiny mini skeins so adorable? I love that they're ready to go. They're not just mini skeins that you have to then wind up. These are little mini skeins that are ready to go. I really want them to do they have several box sets on their website, but they're not of fingering weight wool. I would love it if they would do a box set of fingering weight wool. So we could do our little cozy memory blankets and all the fun things that we like to do out of mini skeins. It is 100% pure merino, and it's ultra fine merino. It's very, very, very soft. They also do have a cotton blend, and they have a cotton wool blend. And they have all kinds of weights. They have 4-ply, DK, Aran, and chunky. So it's quite a large selection. They also have in the 4-ply and the DK weight, they have 60 colors to choose from. It was really hard getting on their website because there was so much to choose from. And right now I haven't been doing very well with making decisions, as my friends can tell you. So I got on their website and I was just overwhelmed. I'm going to order some yarn because their yarn is gorgeous, and I have a design that I'd like to do with their yarn because it has such rounded, it's so rounded, the stitch definition will be absolutely gorgeous in it. But it's overwhelming, all the beautiful colors. Just gorgeous. You could do such a happy sweater, scrappy sweater with just several balls of their yarn. Another thing that I really liked, and I did mention this in the short video, so if you've watched that, I'm repeating myself a little bit, but each ball of yarn, each skein of yarn comes with its own little fabric tie to keep it all together before you knit with it, and its own little tiny little yarn tag. And the thing that I liked about this, it has all the information about that yarn on the back. So if you just put a little scrap piece of the yarn that you used for your project into that little hole, you can put it in your knitting journal or your journal, however you like to track your projects. And you have all the information you need for remembering what you used for that particular project. It's totally awesome. I love it because the tag isn't gigantic. You know, it's just the perfect size to put in a knitting journal. So I was thrilled to discover that. And then the fabric tie is so nice. You could take a piece of it, and this is what I'll be doing with the project that I'm going to do, and you could just cut it off right there, and then you could write your name and the date that you did the project with a Sharpie. And I would probably use a little bit of the fray check on the cut pieces, and I would sew that into my project so that you have your own little clothing label of, you know, who made it and the date that you made it, which I think is a really neat idea. So I love that they have packaged things in a way that you can, there's things to reuse. So I was utterly thrilled. I'm definitely going to be ordering some yarn. I think that I'm going to be ordering some gray. Isn't that silly when they have 60 colors to choose from? But gray is such a lovely color, and I think for the design that I am going to be using it for, it'll be lovely. But in the meantime, I am going to, okay, so in the previous video, if you watched that, I said I might do a tea cozy, since I do that, I use tea cozies all the time. But I think I want to make a happy scrappy hat. Wouldn't that be awesome? Or fingerless gloves. Okay, guys, it's a mystery. We'll see what I shall make with this set of happy scrappy things. But I can't wait to try out the yarns and to play around with them because they are super soft. So anyways, KPC, I'm really happy to find a really awesome yarn company out there. You know, it's really nice to find some good solids that you can use. I was thinking it would be really pretty to get some indie dyed speckled yarns and then a solid and do a really pretty shawl. So a solid with a KPC. Too many ideas, that's the problem. Too many ideas. There's always something. All right, I need to run and pack the kids' lunches for school and JK's for work. So I shall be off, but I shall see you again very soon because we haven't really talked about what's in my knitting basket right now. So ta-ta for right now, and I'll be back later. Happy knitting.